A hoop through in translation, bridge the gap. Communication so real, no cap. A different language for woman and man. Decode the language and you'll understand. Nah, it'll help you out. Rest assured, women have no doubt. Pillow talk, dinner talk. Give you the info to walk the walk. Nah, sometimes it's a foreign language. Now know what's up, don't mistake it. This'll help you every situation. Empower yourself, it's liberating, yeah. Communication, don't need no speculation. Just get that clarification, then reconciliation. Man translation, yeah. Man translation, yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Man Translation show. It is March the 12th, and we are in the first quarter of the new year. It seemed like the new year was just yesterday. We in March already. What's up, everybody?
This spring floor tearing me up.
The what?
This spring floor tearing me up. I need that all back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot. It was spring forward. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Man Translation Show, where we talk about everything, all things communication regarding relationships. Yo, why do we have such problems with relationships? So we talk about cutting edge stuff. I'm Sky C, the CEO and the producer. And this is Nate V, the relationship and communication strategist. And I always tell y'all how proud I am of this show and how proud I am of my son. My son was the least communicative person you ever wanted to meet growing up. Yeah. He really was. And so I want, when I look at his growth, because you want your adult children to grow. Just because they're adults, they're still your children. You want them to grow, and it's beautiful to see them grow. And the thing that's awesome about when your children become adults is that, you've seen them grow all the way from when they was a baby, all the way through so many stages, of their lives. So it's such a blessing. I do this show with my son to prove that African American women can have healthy, non-codependent, non-toxic relationships with their mama.
Because ain't no mama's boys over here.
Because ain't no mama's boys over here. Okay. We didn't raise any mama's boys. No. And so today we're going to be talking about when mothers treat their sons like husbands. This show is stemmed from a comment that I answered on social media. It popped up in my feed. The mother was just cussing her son out. And the son was telling her that, she had to leave. She had been living with the son for 7 years. And he was telling her that, he has a family on the way. His girlfriend was pregnant. And, that she had to go and find her own place. Now, this I answered this on February the 21st. And I'm just now getting around to talking about the subject matter. And the reason I really want to talk about it is because another reason, I grew up seeing this a lot. I grew up watching this a lot. A lot of single mothers, because you kind of, in a way, it's so many perspectives to it. But I think that when I can only talk about myself. I can only talk about what I know about. When I was married, my mother-in-law, she didn't like me for whatever reason. I don't know. I didn't really care because y'all always hear me say most of the time when people don't like you, it's because they don't like themselves. So I'm the type of person that if I have an issue with you, I'm going to bring it to you. I'm not going to hold on to it. I'm not going to have a grudge about it. I'm going to get a chance and we're going to sit down and talk because I just feel like, we could talk about anything. Either we're going to squash it or we're not. It don't matter, but I can't hold it. So fast forward. Now let me give you the premise. Now, he did not like his mom because I'm not going to tell you why, because that's her business. But I felt like I'm not going to be married to a man that don't talk to his mother, a man that don't associate with his mother. So I was like, if you're really serious about getting married, because he didn't want to introduce me to his mom. I was like, that is totally unacceptable. See, because my grandmother taught me values and morals and standards. So there is no way we're going to be in a relationship and you're going to be all cheating your mama some kind of way. That's unacceptable for me. So, I got to, spend time around his mom or whatever. So anyway, fast forward years into the marriage. And we end up staying with his mom because I left and ended up in Philadelphia. And I remember I was like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to talk to his mother. So I went to his mom, and mind you, over the years, I was the one who made sure his mother got a phone call. I was the one who made sure she got a birthday card, a Christmas card, any card she got, any gift she got. I was the one who made sure she got something because her son wasn't trying to send her nothing. And to me, that was completely unacceptable. And I'm not that type of person. So I was just like, I never told her that though. I never told her that, but yeah, it was me. I'm the one who sent you that card with, $100 in there for your birthday. So I remember one day asking her, I said, and this is the thing about when people don't like you, they don't know that that they don't like them while they trying to act like they like you, and you really know that they really don't like you. But don't pretend, because I see straight through you. So she said to me, I said, I always kind of picked up over the years that you didn't like me for whatever reason. So she said to me, she said, it's not that I don't like you. She said, but when my son was little, he promised me that when he grew up, he was going to give me this and buy me that and do that. He said, now all the things that my son promised that he was going to do for me, he's doing them for you. I didn't have a comeback. I didn't have a comeback for that. So I was like, oh, because some things you got to think about, and I didn't want to just flip off, but in my mind, I was thinking that's not his responsibility though. Like, that's not his job. And I grew up watching mothers do that to their sons a lot. And I was cognizant to make sure I didn't do it to my sons. Because men are fixers. So if you and the dad break up, the son gonna automatically feel like he got to step in them shoes. He gonna automatically feel like that because it's something broken. He gonna, even if you don't open your mouth and say a word, he gonna automatically feel like he gotta be the man of the house. Ladies, mothers, your sons can't be the man of the house. He's still growing into a man himself. Take it, Dante.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. But we don't want to see our mothers in a position where they're sad, they're hurt, whatever. So, like you said, we're going to step up in any way that we can, and especially if dad was there and we saw him do certain things to make you happy. That child's going to emulate that. Don't matter what age they are, as long as they're old enough to understand, they're going to be old enough to act. And they're going to feel as though, all right, well, dad's not here and I can't call him because he's not here. I'm here now, so let me go ahead and do what I need to do to put a smile on her face, make her happy, or not have her hurt. Because it doesn't matter how hard you try to hide it, children are going to pick up on how you feel. They're going to pick up on your emotion. They're going to pick up on a bunch of stuff that you don't even know at that point in time. So, no, you're absolutely correct. Men are definitely going to do their best. I'm sorry, children are definitely going to do their best to fill that gap.
Yeah, your sons are automatically, going to do that. And I remember going to talk to my pastor about some other issue I was going through, and I wanted him to pray with me and come into an agreement with me about something. And I remember he said to me, I'm really proud of you that you do not place that burden on your sons. That was my, that it was my job to fill in, all the places, I guess that, a man is supposed to, fill in. And it wasn't, and I tried not to I was also cognizant of this. This is a peeve that I have. Oh my God, this is a peeve. When women say, "Oh, I'm your father." No, you can't be his father. Come on, women, mothers. You cannot be a father. Because you know what? When you're dealing with dysfunction, when you're dealing with dysfunction in a family, people have a tendency to try to replace people with other things and just all kind of things. You can only be a mother. You cannot be a mother and a father. You cannot be a child's father. You are a woman, you're his mother. And focus on being that. Focus on that. I never tried to be their father. I never tried to replace their father. They have a father. I don't need to replace him. I don't need to go find another one. I don't. Okay. When I got engaged after I was divorced for 5 years, I got engaged. One of the things I sat down and talked to my fiance about was, let me tell you something. I don't need you to be a father to them. They already have a father. You just worry about this one we got. I don't need you. I am not putting out an advertisement. I'm not marketing for a father. They have a father because I learned that, you can learn from a bad parent, and you have to not keep your children from their father, no matter how horrible and awful you think they are. Just because they're horrible in the relationship don't mean they're a horrible dad. They could be a great dad, but a horrible husband. So I never kept my I never kept my children from their father. And they knew that it was things he did that I did not like. And he did them so often that I had to oftentimes say it out loud. You know what I mean? But I don't like when women say, "I'm your mother and your father." No, you're not. That creates so many problems. And we're going to do a part 2 to this because we're going to talk about how all of this makes it difficult for your sons to have healthy relationships. It makes it difficult for them to, go on and find somebody and, and to treat them well.
Yeah.
Go ahead, talk about it, Arthur.
No, it's a common annoyance. Because if you just stay in your lane, just be the person you're supposed to be, the mother, life would be so much better. Because you already, as a mother, I'm not speaking for all moms because I'm not a mom, but I am a parent, and we all have many hats. And now you're just adding a hat that's not necessarily needed. You trying to be the mother and the father. No, just be the mom. You already got to be the disciplinarian. You got to be the nurturer. Yeah, you got to do the motherly like things, and then all of a sudden now you got to be a dad, and you trying to do all those different things. They're gonna look at you and be confused, like something's wrong with mommy.
But the thing is that it's not even possible. That's the psychosis of it. That is something that is in your mind. It's not possible. It is no way that you can be somebody's father. It's not even possible. That is a false statement all the way around. And I'm not going to go back and forth with anybody. You can't be a man. You cannot be nobody's father. Point blank. Okay.
I'll go back and forth with you. I do it. I got time.
So, so it's like it's a false statement. Period. You can't be, and it's crazy because I've had a couple of my children call me once they became adults. They will call me on Father's Day and tell me Happy Father's Day. I'm like, y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. Because you know what? I didn't realize that, because fathers are looked at as, the provider and the protector. That's an equal opportunity job. Mothers are protectors and providers as well.
On a different level.
In a different way, but we still protect and provide for our children. I was just, and I think that
part. Yeah.
I think that we
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, when mothers protect their children, it's on a different level. I mean, dad got it, but mom, it brings out a whole nother side of who the hell is this that we didn't know existed. Like, don't mess with my child. Like, the whole nother part, just like we didn't know she had that in her. Yeah, and then you go back to being all nice and sweet and stuff. Men is it's different.
Well, how is it different from men?
For men, depending on who it is, because if it's a son, it's like, all right, you got to go through this. Not like a tough love sort of thing, but all right, you got to
Oh,
experience this. Whereas though, if it's my daughter, then that's when the other side comes out. It's like, all right, somebody got to die.
oh, it's like
But you
in the
mess with
movie
it.
with Will Smith, where Jada was when they was like forcing him, like when he had to go through, to do that split. It was difficult and it was
Mhm.
painful. And Jada was like, we can ready to shut this down. Will was like, no, no, he got to go through this, because that's part of
Oh,
him.
you talk about what's that? The Karate Kid with
Karate
Jaden,
Kids, yeah, when they
right?
redid it, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, and he's like, he got to go through it, and then he goes through it. And it's like, okay, all right, fine. But mom, like, no, we gonna shut down whole production, baby. We ain't gotta do this no more. You can find somebody else, but he's hurting. Whereas though it's like, all right, this is building character. It's that sort of thing.
right,
So it's on a different level.
exactly. And we're not saying that children don't need fathers, because absolutely they do.
Mhm.
Absolutely they do need their father. And I think that we just got to get out of this man versus woman thing. We got to get away from that. You need your mother and you need your father. You need both, because they both provide a balance that you're not going to have otherwise. So this mothers and sons, treating your son like a husband, and we talked about it a little bit when we talked about some of those toxic mothers, those narcissistic mothers, like Mama Jones, don't want her son to marry Chrissy. You all up in the relationship. You are not supposed to be all up in your son's or daughter relationship. You can see, for me, I've always had boundaries. I'm a clean cut boundary type person. When the boundary go out the window is because my child's life is in danger. Now, if I see you trying to do something, you're trying to kill my child, you're trying to poison them, you trying to do some harm. That's when Mama Bear coming out. That's when Lioness coming out, the gorilla, all of it wrapped all into one. It's all coming out because now we got to shut this down. And so,
Yes. Yep.
but that's an exception to the rule. Like, let's take Dante for an example. I did not like his wife,
Sure.
didn't like her. She was disrespectful. She was, to me, she wasn't up to character for what I would think someone that needed to be with my son, for the type of son that I raised. It's not even about who I want him to be with. It's just the type of person that I know he is, and the type of son that I raised. I raised him to have morals and values and standards and all of that. And in the words of Iyanla, where you get this gutter snipe from? You see what I'm saying? Where you get this swamp dog from? Like, what rock slime did she come from? You know what I'm saying? It was like, what in the world is going on here? But I had to mind my business. Meanwhile, her mom was all in the relationship, all in it, just all up and through and back and forth in it. I said, hey, that's who he want to be with. Because at the end of the day, you just want one thing. You want them to be happy. You just want them to be happy. And if the gutter snipe, swamp dog, slime girl makes them happy, then hey, who am I to say anything about it?
Shit.
Who am I to say anything about it? You know what I mean? So I just stayed out of it, minded my own business until I got a phone call from my son saying, yo, she down here doing A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. I'm like, okay, all bets are off. All bets are off because I don't give a damn if I live in the middle of a desert in a tent. Wherever I'm at, that's home for you. I don't care where I'm at. That's always home for you. Okay. And we gotta be in the house, 14 of us in the house. That's home for you. Wherever
Yeah, we
mama
was.
is, that's
Yeah, we
home.
definitely was.
Wherever mama is, that's home. Okay. You know what I mean? And we got to be climbing on each other like sardines and all up in each other's neck. That's hey, we're gonna deal with it. We're gonna sort it all out. It's gonna be all right. And so I didn't like her as like, to know her. I didn't like her spirit. I didn't like her disposition. I didn't like the way she carried herself. I didn't like the fact that she comes and you marry into my family and you got an attitude with me. And then you're going to act like you taking my son. He's my son. He's going to always be my son. My position as his mother is eternal. I ain't going nowhere. God forbid I die today or tomorrow. I'm still going to be his mother. But you might not always be his wife. I just do not understand why these females, note that I didn't call them a woman because there's a difference between a female and a woman. Why females marry into somebody's family and then have an attitude with their mama, have a whole power struggle with the mother, swoop this kid up, and the next thing you won't see him no more, don't hear from him no more. Guess what? God gonna always send them back to mama. You're gonna always need your mother for something because she's your mother. Why would you try to come and bring division between, and don't make it worse if it's already division? I brought my husband and his mother together. I brought them together and I made sure that he had a relationship with his mother. Now, as I spent time around her, I could understand why he didn't want to be around her, but that's not the point. That's not the point. And so, she didn't like me because all the stuff that her son was doing for me. So, in other words, you want to treat your son like he's your man. Mothers, single ladies, your sons don't owe you anything. Your children do not owe you anything. And I know some of y'all might not like this. Ask me if I care. I know some of y'all, this is going to be controversial. I really don't care because we are doing a lot of damage to the mental psyche of our sons. Because see, sons carry on the generation. They carry on the name. They carry the bloodline on. And so if you are damaging them, now I can see if they got their own psychosis and their perception is skewed and they done been influenced by the wrong people and they thinking the wrong thing. That's a whole nother discussion. We're talking about that today. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so this is very important. People have children and they make it seem like their children owe them something. Your children don't owe you anything, especially your sons. I don't ask Dante for nothing. If he does something for me, that's cool. If he don't, that's cool. We go right back to those no strings attached. I had to throw away all of my teas because I'm a tea drinker and I like tea. I used to collect tea kettles, but over the years, I done lost all my tea or they broke up because I done moved. If y'all knew how many times I done moved, child, I done been somewhere everywhere. And I just was like, I wasn't really telling him about the tea because I wanted him to buy me tea. I was really hurt about my daughter threw my tea in the trash because she saw a couple of little roaches. Man, both them roaches, half the boxes wasn't even open. So I was really hurt about my tea. So I don't know. Next thing you know, I get a delivery. This huge box of tea. Then I get another delivery. A huge box of tea. Dante done replaced all my teas. All my teas. Like, that's a beautiful thing. It may seem like a small thing to you. I'm not hard to please. I know my children think I am, but I'm really not. And I was like, even to this day, I have so much tea. I never have to buy tea. I don't have to buy no more tea. Oh, my God, for tea. I swear for, I mean, all kind of good tea too. Good tea, all kind of tea, good stuff. So we have to really be cognizant that our children, they don't owe us anything. They don't, especially our sons. We have to be really careful. We have to be very intentional. And nobody told me this stuff when I was raising my children. I had to learn all of this stuff. Some stuff I learned in the book, some stuff I learned through trial and error. You know what I mean? But I just see that this young man, when did this happen? February 21st. He was hurt, and then the mother came on and she responded. And I mean, such the sense of entitlement that the mom had. And I'm just like, I really want to respond to mom, but you gotta be careful how you talk to mama. You don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to disrespect nobody, mama, okay? Because I ain't allowing nobody to disrespect. But I really want to have a talk with his mother, because you're putting an undue responsibility on him that doesn't belong to him. He's probably put himself in that position without you even saying anything. He feels as though, he has to, he has to step and try to fill, his dad's shoes. Not possible. Not possible. Be careful how you even talk to your sons. I had to learn that because I'm real straightforward. I'm just boom. And I'm not going to say I don't have a filter, because I do have a filter. Because if I said what I really was on my mind, but we have to really be mindful of the person that we're releasing into society.
And that's major, because the person you're releasing out is almost a direct reflection of how you raise them.
Yeah.
The things that were allowed, the things that you poured into them, they're going to go out there and they're going to emulate. They're going to act on it. They're going to be like, okay, well, my mom did this and this, and this. So here we go. No, I'm very key on that, because I don't think some people should be released out in society. We need just saying.
Yeah.
Can we start sending this person out here?
It is really, but see, the thing is, for me growing up, it was like my brother could do no wrong, and this goes on a lot in, I guess, dysfunctional families, where the daughter gets treated like straight trash, and the son could do no wrong. My brother could go out; he had no curfew. We grew up in the age where the schools just passed people through. You could get straight F's and go to the next grade. You ain't had to do no homework, nothing, because they wanted black boys to come out stupid. They wanted them to come out, you'll be surprised at the men who can't read. That's illiterate, can only read on the 5th grade level, because the school system was just passing them through. Because remember, they came out with the No Child Left Behind. No Child Left Behind is code. That's a dog whistle. That means pass them through. Whether they do the homework, come to school, they could be absent. Oh, they was here 2 days, pass them through. They got all F's, go ahead, pass them through. That's what and see, that's the thing. When you're dealing with people that have double forked tongues like a snake, they say one thing and they do something else. That's how you know when people are not genuine, because their words and their actions don't line up. When somebody's words and actions don't line up, that's a snake. Snakes have forked tongues. They one tongue saying one thing, the other tongue saying the other thing, and they both in the same mouth. No, something's wrong. Red flag. And so, sons could do no wrong. They could stay out. They could do whatever they wanted to do. So it's a line of demarcation. The only thing that I found that I struggled with my sons was how to talk to them, in a way that they could understand. That's why we have this show. How do you talk to them in a way that doesn't break their spirit? How do you not be too hard, but not be too soft, but not be too, you know what I'm saying? How do you find the balance of trying to raise a son, because a daughter, you could talk to her, y'all talk the same language, but a son, that's a whole, horse of a different color. And then I didn't want to bring men in over top of them and try to regulate them when they had their own dad. And so it's just a fine line. Dante, what's that face for? Talk about it.
Yeah, no, because generally when you because I had the experience, the reverse experience, if you will, where you try to bring someone in, not you, but in general, trying to bring someone in to uh, replace a parent that's already alive that you already have a relationship with. It ain't gonna go well
No.
at all. Like forced relationships are definitely not a thing. Oh, well, this is such and such. Call him mom or call him dad, and it's like F such and such. We don't know who they are. I mean, at this point, we really don't even care. So now the person that you like, you want to bring them around, it ain't gonna work.
Because it's not possible. You can't replace people. And it's so sad because you see this all the time in dysfunctional families. Like, in our culture, people don't talk. Like, people hold on to their emotions, especially your sons, because it's viewed as, there's, sissies. Yep, I'm gonna say the sissy word, that they sissies or they mama's boys. I'm just gonna say mama's boys. That's something I dealt with my oldest son. It would be certain things I would do for him, and he would be like, "Stop treating me like, I'm a mama's boy. Like, I'm just celebrating your birthday. I've been celebrating your birthday your whole life. All of a sudden now, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that's one of the things that I always loved about Kanye West. He always shouted out his mom. He has a great relationship with his mom. And he never, as a black man, felt like it was less of him to shout out his mom and to love his mom out loud. Same thing with Tupac. They never felt like they was being mama boys because they shouted out their mom or they loved their mom or they had a great relationship,
Right.
with their mom. I'm telling you, in the African American culture, it is not popular. That's why Dante is on this show. That's why out of all my male friends, none of them was on this show. But my son is on this show because everything I do with a purpose in mind. And people need
Mhm,
to see that you can and Dante has his own life. He has
mhm.
his own life. I am not a needy, desperate, thirsty mother. I have my own life. Okay. I have my own life. I don't live my life through my son. If he has a problem or issue or something, he knows I'm here. He knows that I'm here, for him. Will ride or die for him. If I need to, put my Vaseline on my face, put my sneakers on and fly up there, and we got an issue that need to be taken care of, he know it ain't nothing but a word, say less. I'm there. You know what I mean? And so I don't have to prove to my son that I love him. He knows that I love him. You know what I mean? And so it's like so much nonsense. I find that the reason why the communication is not happening in relationships is y'all adding in stuff in the equation that don't belong. Y'all adding too much stuff in. All this other extra, stuff. It's simple. Just let it be organic. It's real simple. You know what I mean? And I didn't say anything to Dante when he was married. We had a conversation about his wife after. I never treated her any differently. I know how to respect people and be cordial, even though it's like, this girl ain't got no home training. You know what I mean? You don't try to power play me for the child that I brought into the world. What? So it's like people have their perceptions are skewed based on their own experiences and backgrounds. That's why we need to share perspectives and it all has to be based in truth. None of it can be based in feelings or opinions. It all has to be based in truth and experience. And we are doing a lot of damage. Meanwhile, as a culture of people, we at the bottom. Y'all talking about have a seat at the table. The table ain't nowhere near us. Because everything starts with a foundation. You don't have a foundation, you can't build nothing. And if you build something, it's going to collapse at any time. It's like a sinkhole that's been, eroding, and then one day it just collapses. And so, I just want women to know, look, when is Mother's Day? We always busting somebody's bubble on these little holidays. I just want women to be cognizant of how they raise their sons, how they communicate. You got an uncle, there's an uncle. See, that's why God created a family. I'm sure it's an uncle that can talk to, or a cousin or something, that can step up or step in or something. But all this, even hollering, women have a tendency to holler. Even hollering.
But even that's a thing, because and I had to learn this. I had to learn this from you. Because sometimes you be hollering, but you don't really be hollering. You're just really passionate about what you're talking about. So you have to distinguish between the two. It's like, why mommy always yelling all the time? I don't know. What's happening? But once you get on the topic and you're like very passionate, it comes off that way. But to a child, it's like, she angry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so because they perceive my passion as angry, then that made them not approach me. So even though I gave them a space to come and talk to me about anything, they wouldn't do it. And I didn't realize that I was coming across angry. That's why we got to talk about this stuff. I didn't realize that I was coming across angry. And then people would tell me, well, you're not easily approachable. Okay, well, your grown ass ain't supposed to just sashay all up in my presence anyway.
Just sashaying over.
But that don't go for my children. That doesn't apply to them. Okay, I have one set of rules for my family, and I have a whole nother set of rules for you. Okay, and so growing up, they took that as that mommy was angry. No, mommy not angry. I'm probably the most laid back person, and I didn't even realize that until I started doing when I started coming on, when I started out on Periscope. And when I would go back and look at my Periscopes, I used to be like, I am so chill. Like some people just be like, woof. Like, I am so chill. It's like, nah, you're going to have to bring more energy than that. That's just how I am. I've always been like real laid back and real quiet. This is the most talking that I do all week, is when I come on this show. Other than that, I'm quiet and working. You know what I mean?
I get the same thing. It's like you on social media, you like people swear I'm an extrovert. I'm not.
I know.
I'll be in this house chilling. Listen, I could probably use like 6 words all weekend.
It'd be cool. But I have a purpose in doing it. And the purpose is that we have to show that, it can work. And we can, learn and grow and come together, in our own personal ways, and we can make, impact, in our communities and everything. And see, and as a result of, I'm gonna do a series on identity. As a result of sometimes how people see you, it reflects on how you see yourself. So I went through this in my own family. I come here, I'm sharing my own experience. You want to know my business? Come on this channel. You're going to find out. And I was challenged in my motherhood. I was told that I wasn't a good mother. And, all these horrible things were said about me as a mother. And I knew that's not who I was. But I went to God anyway, because I always want to keep getting better and better as a person. And I went to God anyway, and I just kind of stripped myself of all my titles and said, God, without the title of mother, without the title of, all the titles that we have, the titles we have at work, we carry a lot of titles. That's why I ain't adding father to the list. I don't need no more titles. We have a lot of titles that we carry. And at that time, I'm a single mother. I'm not on any type of assistance. I'm not getting food stamps, nothing. I'm paying the mortgage insurance. I'm paying the groceries. I'm paying the car note, the car insurance. I'm trying to, furnish the house that I just bought. I'm buying clothes for three teenagers, and, people looking at me like, coming in my office, it's like it's me and my wife, and we ain't even doing what you're doing by yourself. Like, how in the world are you doing it? I'm doing it because it's my responsibility to do it. And I didn't look at it as difficult. I looked at it as this is what I'm supposed to do. And these are the children that I brought into this world. And these are the children that I'm going to take care of, whether it's a man in my life or not, And when my fiance came, he was like, dang, I don't even know how I fit in here, because like you got everything on lock. Like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. So I just had to just go and pray and say, okay, without all of this stuff that I'm doing and all of the titles that I have, at the end of the day, who am I? Like, who am I once I strip all of that down? And what I found out is that I'm a daughter of God. I am God's daughter. I am his daughter. And so when God revealed to me that I was his daughter, it gave me identity. We get our identity from our parents. So if you are raising your child in such a way that it skews the way that they see you, it's going to affect their identity. It's going to affect who they are. They have to be able to see you through a clear glass. The Bible says we see through a glass darkly. They have to be able to see you through a clear glass. They have to see exactly who you are. When you have a parent, I always wanted to be a parent. I always wanted to be a mother that my children could be proud of. So I never walk around with, my butt hanging out. I'm very mindful of how I dress around, my children, because, I grew up where mothers wore Daisy Dukes and halter tops when they shouldn't have had no Daisy Dukes on. So, I always wanted to be a mother that my children could be proud of, because I wanted them to see me, clearly. But if they're seeing you, through a dark glass, they're not seeing the real you. It's going to affect who they are. And when it affects who they are, then they're not going to choose the right partner. We're going to talk about that next week. It's going to affect who they choose to be with. So that gutter snipe, swamp dog, person, that was the least person. I'm like, well, God, good God, how does he see me? Because, they say a boy marries his mother. I'm like, I hope he don't see me like that. Oh, my God. Uncouth, ghetto. Like, really? I grew up in the ghetto, but I got home training, and I'm sure somebody gave her some home training. But the way she walked in my house, she didn't act like she had no home training. And so, it's very important the way we interact with our sons. And we have to be always checking ourselves. And we need somebody around us to check us. Why y'all think nobody can't check y'all? You need the correction. That's what parents do. We see your blind spots. We know you. We've been studying you your whole life. Who else knows you better than us except for God? And you can always say, oh, no, that's not me. God can show you something about you, and you can say, no, that's not me, that's her. But if your mama said or your daddy said, you got to think about that thing. You got to think about it. You know what I mean? And so stop running from the correction. Stop running from the words that's going to help you change and to help you grow and to help you to be a better parent. Because we didn't have anybody to help us. By the time I had my children, I was married and gone to a whole nother place. I was not even living in the place, that I was in. I was going and moving around somewhere. I would have to call my grandmother up. If she was alive today, I'll be calling her up. And so, yeah, grandma. You know, and so we have to, I don't think women understand that. I hear women be cussing their sons out. We saying, you know, real cuss words to these kids and everything. And so they can't handle the burden. And it's not their job to be your husband. It's not. I'm sure you ain't got no problem getting a man, because I know I ain't got no problem getting none. Ain't got no problem keeping them, but you sure got a problem getting rid of one. Dang. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead, because identity is important. So many people lack identity. They lack identity. They lack it.
All right, here we go. I mean, yes, get the man, absolutely. But a lot of some women are scared to jump back out there. So they confide into the one person or people that they know that they can't lose, which would be their sons. And
But
they
you
try
can't talk to
to,
your son about stuff like that, though. You can't talk to your son
but
about
they
that type of stuff.
no, you can't. But unfortunately, they do in some degree because they want them. Again, we talk about putting that person out in society. So they're trying. They want them to be the person who goes out and doesn't do what the said person did to me to another woman. So that's the person that they're trying to raise, and oftentimes it backfires. I know it's weird. You wrap your mind around it.
Yeah. Because you can't really talk to your sons about that type of stuff. You can't talk to your sons about your romantic life and the people that you like dealing with and stuff. Like, you can't talk about that type of stuff.
They do.
But this young man, he answered me. I responded to him. He answered to me. You can see the hurt. You can hear the hurt. You can see the hurt in his face, where his mom was concerned. Because he has the pressure of feeling obligated to take care of his mom. He feels obligated. From the way that it looks at me, I think mom, see, we go back to the same thing. We keep hitting that same square, unresolved trauma. Mom has unresolved trauma. Unresolved trauma. One of the things I will always regret that when I got divorced, that I didn't take all of us to therapy. We all should have went to therapy. I didn't go to therapy. Eventually I went, but we all should have went to therapy because I thought that you guys were okay. I did not realize that divorce, oh my God, it affects the children more than anybody because marriage is a protection. It's a covering for the children. And when the marriage breaks up or divides, because that's what divorce means. Die means two. When it divides, it literally splits your family in two. And it splits friends, everything, especially if you've had friends that you've both known in common. They have to take sides over which one they're going to be. And if one, chooses the other one, then you ain't talking to that one. So I did not realize that divorce, oh my God, nothing does more damage to a family than a divorce. And 9 times out of 10, mom gets blamed. Mom gets blamed. Just like in the garden, mom gets blamed. Adam blamed Eve, Eve blamed the serpent, and Adam blamed God. So, moms get blamed for all things that don't go right. And it's difficult because when you're single, and you're trying to heal and you're giving yourself the time to reflect so that you can take responsibility for your part of why the marriage didn't work. You may not have the lion's share of why it didn't work, but you still got to take some level of responsibility. And so while you're trying to sort all of that out, it's not smart to try to jump into another relationship for me, because I was overprotective, look at Dante.
Nah, because that's the first thing they do. They go on and get with somebody else, and now they're looking at you like,
Yeah, you haven't healed.
Papa, who this man?
You haven't healed. You haven't given yourself, and depending on how long you was in the relationship, that's really going to determine really how long you're going to end up being by yourself. And
People
but
don't
see,
understand that.
what happens is, but that's not what happens. This is what happens. People assume and they jump to conclusions and say, oh, she just can't keep a man. Oh, she just runs everybody away. They don't realize that you've made a choice to be by yourself, to spend time in prayer, spend time, seeking truth so that you can be a better person. And then by the time you get finished doing all that, child, you'd be too tired to be in a relationship. So people assume and they jump to conclusions that, oh, no, she difficult. She can't keep no man. She just run everybody away. And you be looking like, child, I ain't run your daddy away. How about that? How about that? Okay, he was on my heels. Bleep, 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 bleep. Who was doing that? Okay, road runner. So anyway, people assume. And that's the thing. We're not having any conversations. Nobody, like, I can't sit down and talk to somebody. Like, when somebody come to me, and people been coming to me forever. People been coming to me as long as I can remember. But I don't ever respond because I haven't talked to the other person. If I'm going to help you, if you go to therapy, eventually they're going to tell you, okay, we need to bring in your daughter. We need to bring in your, why? Because the whole goal is to get to the truth. It's not who's right, who's wrong. It's to get to the truth. In the courtroom.
I think nowadays people have lost that.
Right. In the courtroom. Why do they get the other people to come in? Because they need to get to, why do they need witnesses? Because they need to get to the truth. Mm-hmm. How you going to get to the truth? Oh, I forgot. That's not, I forgot. We ain't trying to get to the truth because truth means reality. That means you have to face reality. I forgot. The truth is going to destroy all of your illusions and all of your delusions. So you ain't trying to get to no truth. You're trying to stay in that false reality that you have created for yourself. It's time to shatter the mirror. Time to break the mirror. Throw that out the trash. And so, because we have to get this right, look at everything that's happening in the world. Banks are closing. Let me tell you something. I came on social media. Let me see. I started my business in 2015. I moved to Texas in 2013. I started my business in 2015. I didn't go live until 2017. Okay. 2 years before COVID. I kept telling people, America is crumbling. I've been saying it since 2015. I kept telling people America is crumbling. America is going to be like a third world country. They looked at me like I had 3 heads. What's happening to America? Crumbling. We already in a depression. When I came on in 2015, 2017, we were already in a recession. See, y'all don't know how finances work. Y'all don't know how economics work. We were already in a recession. I was already warning people and preparing, telling people what they needed to do. And now we're in a depression now. It's the worst depression this is going to break all the history books. It's going to be the worst one anybody's ever seen. And everybody's acting like they're in a trance. Like, what? This going on as usual. Like, they want to take everything. Now the banks are closing. So when I put up my website and stuff, I never had PayPal in my business. I never used Cash App in my business. I never used Zelle. I wish I would attach any of them to my bank account. Y'all wonder why they stealing y'all money. These are fintech companies. These are fintech. They could be over in anywhere. They could be anywhere. Why do you think when you have a problem you can't get nobody on the phone?
And when you do, they overseas.
They overseas because they got their banks. Their banks not in America. They don't hid their money over there. I'm not attaching that to my business. No. Cash App. First of all, I don't buy from people. If you got a Zelle, Cash App, or even a PayPal, I don't like PayPal either. Didn't never like it from day one. I don't do business with you because I don't think that you're legitimate. It's not legitimate. When you start a business, you got to structure your business a certain way. They're not legitimate. I'm not. No. I ain't buying. You could be selling the most beautiful thing. I'll be like, well, I guess if you won't, I won't. I guess I won't get it. How many people had problems with PayPal? PayPal took their money and nobody. They don't ain't a phone number to call. Why? Because they're not in the U.S. They way someplace else. Now the bank, the Silicon Valley Bank, closed, and people are just totally oblivious. And I don't know why I'm talking about that, but I have to do a show later. But mothers and sons and treating them like they're your husbands. And it may not, nobody may not have told you this. So a lot of times we're operating in things that we don't know what the name of it is. That's why you keep hearing narcissistic this and narcissistic that, because we didn't know that was the name of it. We didn't know that man we married or that man that pressured us. You see what I'm saying?
Throwing that out just everywhere. Everybody narcissist. He was narcissistic. Use the definition of the word before you start using stuff. I learned one new word. It's just that's what it is. He was.
Well, I've done extensive studying on.
Oh no, but I know you have. I'm talking about the people who just throwing it around, not really knowing what it is. Like,
but they are kind of everywhere. But but basically, from what I'm studying, it's a person with unresolved issues. You got unresolved issues, and you're not trying to resolve the issues, and you're going into these relationships, and you're toxic. That's basically what it is. It's really just a toxic person. And it's like all of us have some level of toxicity, but you are like 90% full of shit. You're 90% full of trash. Like your garbage has filled your whole insides up. It's filled with garbage. Your whole soul ain't nothing but garbage. You got landmines everywhere inside your soul. Like nobody can say nothing without you, you know what I mean, inside your soul. You see what I mean? Nobody can say, what's up, girl? Nobody can say nothing. Nobody can say nothing without you popping off. You know what I'm saying? Because everything hurt your feelings. Everything is a problem, an issue, or something. Like for real. So they are everywhere. And we are under a narcissistic government. Narcissists love to control. They want to control everything. And this digital, what's up? This digital dollar, I tried to tell y'all, stop coming on social media bragging about how much money you make, because people that got money don't talk about how much money they make. Now the government know that we making money. You know they don't want us to have nothing. Now they know how much money you making. Now they're trying to ban TikTok, talking about baby on TikTok for 90 minutes. How you know? How do you know? How you know? Y'all on here talking about stuff, and half the people that's on there talking about it don't even know what they're talking about. Don't even know what they're talking about. What you talking about? So, you know, like this is a serious thing. So I'm going to do a duet with this young man. I know he's gonna be like, now she waited a whole month. Yeah, it'll be on not quite a month, because this was on February 21st. Because I told him, like, regardless of what your mom does, like, respect your mom, because something else is going on with your mom. 9 times out of 10, she has some unresolved trauma that she has not dealt with. And that's why she, in her mind, she doesn't think she's treating you like a spouse. She doesn't think like what mother really wants to do that? You know what I mean? She doesn't think that that's what she's doing. You know what I mean? She doesn't, just like women who treat men like their girlfriends. You can't talk to a man like he's a woman. He's a man. Yeah, so yeah, and then she said, and then I was trying to tell her, and he'd be like, "Oh my God!" It's like to him, it's like a woodpecker. You know how the woodpecker be just pecking, 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 pecking. Men don't want to hear that.
Looking for that exit strategy. The moment you start doing that, oh my gosh. This is why some men don't ask you how your day was, because they get that.
Ooh, see, I'm trying to tell you. Listen, all my majority of my friends are men. And I talk to men all the time. I be like, so yeah, so why do y'all be doing this? You know how y'all do, you know how y'all do, sis. I be like, no, how do we do?
Oh.
And then when I come on here and give y'all an answer about a man, it's because I done already talked to the man and got the answer. Because I get it, I've always gotten along with men better than women.
Notice how she says she talked to a man and got an answer, and not your girlfriend or your single friends and nothing like that. Kind of gotta go to the source. Y'all be making stuff up, and then we gotta go.
That's why Dante can relate to what I be saying. That's why we have this show, because men don't think like women, and you can't talk to them like they are women. You can't treat them like they're your girlfriend. Be like, yeah. And then Sue, she was tripping today at work. I told her, look, don't get two-piece, don't get this clap. He be looking at you like, is she violent? And see, men, they won't say nothing. They'll just listen. But be studied, like Dante said, formulating an exit strategy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. More we need that break. Gone.
Gone.
And don't hit us with the whole, how can you never ask me about my day? Because we don't care no more. I'm gonna say this, and like people might think I'm being mean, but I've said this before to a lot of different women. Men will ask questions to things that they want to know, things that are important to them. So if they don't ask you how your day was, guess what? You're not gonna talk to me about 45 minutes about your day. No, listen, no.
When you talk to men, I'm gonna give y'all a little key, and then we gotta go. When you talk to men, it gotta be like when you go on a job interview. When you go on a job interview.
No, let me stop you. I hear what you're saying. I see where you're going with this. No, remember that 10-second elevator pitch? That's how you talk to men.
Okay.
Attention span of a gnat. Okay.
It is.
You start going off, and it's just what? To the point. But go ahead. No. Go ahead, finish.
No, I'm gonna skip because you already answered that. But men get their information by watching you. That's how they get their information. I'm telling you, me and men, we are here. They get their information by watching you. They don't really need you to tell them a whole lot of stuff. They done already picked up on, they know a lot of stuff about you because they watch very closely.
Which is why we're asking no questions. We might ask questions to clarify something because we might be confused on what we've seen.
Right.
But as far as the whole in-depth, like, the whole security questions, no, we got you.
No. All that extra information you be giving out, they ain't trying to hear all that.
Yeah, listen, which is why most men are hooked on the woman who is mysterious. Her.
And that would be me.
Make it work for her. She, like, men, well, here's what we do. You ready? Okay, great. We're going to comb through, because we comb through social media. You're going to see what's going on. And
it's called trolling, not combing. It's called trolling.
No, whatever. If you don't have your age on Facebook, here's what we do. You ready? Because you probably got the year you graduated, right? You take that, subtract that by 18, we got a year. So that puts us in the range of where we need to be. Like, okay, cool. She old enough, she not old enough, she in the age bracket. Okay, cool. Unless you Unless you got a GED or you dropped out and came back. Okay, fine. Gotcha. But that's how we get our like, no, that social media is being comfortable. So don't put all your stuff on social media because we watching.
Yeah. That you know what that happened to me too. The one guy was my birthday. He went on social media and told me exactly what my age was, and I had to go through and see where did he find this information from. And it's just like what you said, because that's how men find out about you. They watch you. They watch you. And so they don't really want all that, because it's like, women talk twice as fast as men can process. So he only heard probably that one sentence that you said, and he gonna take that and go process that. All that other stuff you said is like Charlie Brown.
We heard what we needed to apply to the situation that we needed for. Men read headlines. Women read the actual body of whatever. They need the details. We will read the headline and assume everything else. All right, okay.
But see, it goes back to identity. That's why I'm going to do an identity series. It goes back to identity. Identity, when you are not sure of yourself, when you have confidence issues and identity issues and low self-esteem issues, you talk a lot because you're trying to impress the man.
Nope.
You're trying to impress him. But the more you talking, that's not helping the situation. Not because he's looking at you like, she crazy. She got way too much going on. It's way too much happening all up in this area. So, deuces.
Yeah, we're gonna just slightly slide you off to the side a little bit. Like, you cool, but you guys.
No, they call that ghosting. You're gonna get ghosted.
Right, that's very
the
possible.
Only way you won't get ghosted is if he's a homosexual and you need a place to live. If he needs 3 hots in the cot, you in the pocket.
He gonna be like, yep.
Close us out, Dante. Close us out.
Bring the plate.
Tell mothers why they can't treat their sons like their husbands.
When you do that, when you start treating your son as if they are a husband or a spouse or a significant other, it puts a bad taste in their mouth. And understand that the first relationship a child has is with their parent. And they're going to assume moving forward, this is how relationships are. And if my dad didn't want to be with you, why should I? And then that is the mentality that is placed on them, and they just go bounce from place to place. Because if you grow up hearing, niggas ain't shit, men ain't this, men ain't that, but you're raising me to grow up to be a man, supposedly not to be that. That's the thing that they hear. Again, understand that children watch. Yes, they listen, but they watch more than they actually listen, especially boys. What's going on, Auntie? I'm just not seeing the comments. They pay attention. They watch. They see. So if you have a revolving door of men, that's what they see. This is what women are good for. And then that is the person that you are now putting out in society. Like, as a parent, some things your children should not know. I mean, let them know something. The things they need to know, yes, I can't tell you what that is because every situation is different. But them being in, seeing the types of relationships you're in for people that's not going to be there very long, yeah, that's not a good look. Because again, they're going to form that image of you. And now when they go out to go date or court or whomever, you're the first example that they've seen. So they're going to emulate that. That's it.
So we're going to be talking about that next week. We're going to talk about, how this affects the son and what type of mate he chooses, when he goes out into the world, because this has a ripple effect. It has a ripple effect. I have to surround myself always with people that are brutally honest with me. I need brutal honesty. And so because it helps me, thank you, sis. It helps me to it helps me to keep my balance, but it also helps me to know I can't see my own blind spots.
Right.
I can't see my own blind spots. So I need somebody to just be like, look, listen, you need to pull back off that because you're coming on to or whatever the situation may be. And I want us to embrace the truth. Stop running away from the truth. How do you think you're going to become a better person? How do you think you're going to become a better parent? You can't run away. Get out of that little delusional fantasy that you live in. Shatter the mirror, because you in the clown mirror. You ain't in the true mirror. Because it's a lot of damage being done to sons. And these crop of Kevin Samuel podcasts spewing all this poison where women is concerned is because they hate mother. They got mommy issues. They have unresolved mommy issues. They don't even realize that the stuff. Listen, it is one of the traits of a narcissist is parental alienation. Parental alienation is when the narcissist turns the children against you. Do you know that's not normal? I grew up with drug addicts, alcoholics, murderers, serial killers, rapists, and them kids don't turn against their parents. It is not normal. That behavior alone is a red flag. Alone, something is wrong. And even when you got a parent that legitimately did something to the child, they don't turn against their parents. So this is a very conniving, manipulative, undermining, covert issue that we're dealing with. And so in order for us not to raise these type of men that hate, you just be listening to that one guy. He was just like, before he was like Judge Judy. I don't even watch Judge Judy no more. I used to like her. I don't like her anymore. Judge Judy don't let you finish a sentence because she done did so many cases. She's jaded now. She's biased because she done heard so many cases. She thinks she already know the answer. She don't let you say nothing. She just as mean as an old rattlesnake. She need to take that bun out her hair. I don't know what that hairstyle is about because she fired the black man that been with her all them years. She done lost her mind. She said, go ahead and retire. I don't even like her no more. And so we have to be mindful of what kind of men we are releasing into society, because there's a bunch of these podcasters that is just spewing all type of women hatred. Everything come out their mouth is hatred, and women do this and women ain't this and they don't do this, and you got 3 baby daddies and all of this and that. Well, what they got to do with the price of tea in China, brother? Exactly, they are hurt. This show is about unity and bringing families together. Understanding a lot of times you don't really know how to solve a problem until you understand, or you have a label, or you can call a thing a thing. Here, we call a thing. So that now you be like, oh, that's what that was. Oh, that's why they were doing it. Or you can check yourself and be like, you know what? I'm really going to be cognizant of the way that I talk to my son. I'm going to go and do some research on this topic and check myself and see if I'm operating in any of these toxic behaviors. Because I do not want to raise a son that hate women. Because if he has unresolved issues with his mama, he gonna take it all out on his girlfriend, his fiance, and his wife. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why it's important that you have people in your life that's brutally honest with you and can tell you the truth in love. And if I get a little spicy with it, it's because I really love you. What you doing? So that is the show. Thank you. See you guys next week. Thank you for participating.